Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Riders Meeting. I'm your host, David Pingree, joined by Jason Lawrence and Bruce Murata here to wrap up what we saw in Denver, Colorado for our next to last round of Monster Energy AMA Supercross. And I'll tell you what, we got some good stuff. We got some interesting stuff. We got some stuff that probably bums you two out a little bit, kind of a little bit of everything. So before we dive into it, let's hit our sponsors. Rock and Turf, at Rock and Turf. If you guys looking for artificial grass, Maxxis tires. They have a full line of truck tires, light duty, and also mountain bike tires. So check those guys out. And then also speedstrap.com, tie downs and toe straps. Great companies. Stoked to have them on board. And Jason, you've got some people helping you out too. I want to hit some of these guys.
Yeah, buddy. Well, I'm on the brink of racing Loretta's. So far, I'm actually only guaranteed to be racing the regional. So I can't be doing this without my sponsor. And I got a cool way to relate it to our championship battle and my commitment to the Web Wagon. So the Web Wagon was full leaving St. Louis, right? Then we were all sitting on each other's laps leaving Foxborough. We saw the majority of the people vacate the wagon leaving Nashville. And I had to assume the driver role just to get the wagon out of Philly. Rumor has it that the original driver now drives a hovercraft for George Jetson. The wheels fell off the wagon in Denver, but I'm still riding with coupe. The bandwagon has been reduced to a two-door coupe. It's a nice coupe, though. It's like a Porsche that you can get from my sponsor, HBIauto.com. What a cool sponsor, right? But it's so easily confused with HBI Racing. But you see, we're trying to sell you an exotic car, not file your taxes. HBIauto.com.
I like it. Where's this guy located?
North Carolina, home of Coop. Coop will probably get one of those.
Hey, if you guys need Jason Lawrence to do a commercial for you, go ahead and DM him. He's 10 grand a commercial. So,
hey, and after you buy this car, we sell used ones, so we save you money. It's going to have new tires, but after that, you could get what kind of tires, Pink? Maxxis tires for it.
So
there you go.
I actually don't know if they make sport car tires, but we'll just plug them anyway.
I think they do. I think they do, man. I don't know.
Hey, and didn't you say, Jason, if they buy a car, they get to take you for one night out in it?
Yeah, every girl does. Yep.
Oh, that doesn't extend to guys?
No, not in this area.
All right. So one night out with J-Law, nothing expected, but a little upsy downsy would be appreciated.
Nothing expected, nothing remembered.
That's right. Okay. All right. Let's dive into our Speed Strap 250 main. This one for me was kind of the race of the night, even though the racing, it wasn't back and forth battles, but man, there was so much on the line. And I don't want to like toot my horn here too much, but I'm pretty sure I nailed this freaking pick. I said Joe, Kitchen, and RJ. That's exactly how they finished. And so I know you two are crying the blues. You both wanted RJ up in there. What did you guys think? Take me through the night.
I think that, first of all, you hit your head yesterday, bud. Did you really nail it, all three? We know you had a big crash, man.
No.
All right. Well, I chose a little bit with my heart, and you guys knew that.
Yes.
So
I'm with Jason on that.
But whatever.
Right, you know what though? I'm kind of glad it ended like that. It's just going to get it more exciting for next weekend. So I think RJ did that on purpose for us.
I think he did. I think he likes you guys so much. He wanted to really just bring you along in this championship and give you something to get excited about next week.
See?
He said God did it. He said this was God's doing. He said God didn't let him get close enough to Levi. This is why I love RJ. He said God didn't let him get close enough because he knows 99.9% of the time he's taking a shot no matter what, and it's going to end up bad. So God just didn't let it happen. I think it was RJ's mistakes that didn't let it happen, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It was close.
The biggest thing that caught my attention was it was that rhythm section when he got around Jordan and he came up short and he ended up like hitting it like a whoop section. Do you see that?
Yeah, he tried to skim a rhythm lane, dude. I've never seen anything like it.
But I feel like had he not done that, that obviously would have made it better for him because he would have been right on Kitchen right there. And Jordan was definitely a roadblock for him. So, and I just think for that track, it was hard to make up some time, especially for for me, it looked like the terrain was obviously unpredictable, super loose. So it's kind of sketchy to push it, So
RJ didn't have no problem pushing it, boy. He was pushing it a little bit too hard, I almost thought.
the beginning.
Yeah, kind of the whole time. Like he was like a yo-yo behind Kitchen, like from like 2 to 5 seconds, it seemed like, but it was not because of anything besides RJ's mistakes. And I don't mean like bad mistakes, but like it was like poor timing, I'd say. Like even with the lappers. Dude, he caught the lappers a couple times pretty bad. And like there's one guy out there in the main. We could make a demonstration video of what not to do as a lapper if you're this guy. Like I understand, buddy, you just made your first main event and you're out there for the full experience. But when you're 2-3 laps down, it's time to get off the track.
Yeah,
dude.
just pull off.
That's a little ridiculous.
I get ridiculed for that. I've said when you get lapped twice, they need to black flag you. Get the hell out of there, because these guys go, if they either have a fall or they just get tired or arm pump, whatever, they just roll. And it's like, dude, you are in the way.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Get the hell off the track. I wish the AMA would implement that. It wouldn't fix all the problems, but at least it would help. Because there was 2 or 3 times last night I saw a guy and I'm just like, dude, get out of the way, get out of the way. They're coming, I'm yelling at my TV.
Yeah.
And I saw the mistakes you're talking about too, Jason. There was that rhythm lane where Kitchen was actually going over the table and then tripling. It was super buttery. That lane right there, RJ made mistakes 2 times. I just caught on the camera because they weren't always on him. But as he was trying to close that gap up to Kitchen, I saw several mistakes, and I thought, well, here's RJ, pushing too hard and going to crash. And so when he said it was a test from God or whatever he said, but like, I think that shows some maturity from him to go, all right, I keep making mistakes. I can't push any harder than this. It's loose, marbly soil and hard pack, on top of hard pack. Like, let me just be smart. I thought that was a good move for him. He knows the point situation. He was doing math in his head, I'm sure, going, okay, we're probably going to be tied or close or whatever. I thought it was actually a smart ride from him. I was super impressed with Kitchen. We didn't know what to expect with that injury. It didn't seem like it was much. What did you make of the boot? Because I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's done. Have you ever ridden with your boot? Just the top one unbuckled. It feels weird.
Yeah,
he had 2 of them.
Personally, I would have buckled that thing. From the way I'm looking at it, this track had 4 straightaways, dude, that you could have pretty easily not lost much time and buckled it. But I'm saying that, and he pulled it off. But I look at it like he had a time when, if he was aware of RJ had just made a mistake or got tied up and he had like a 3-second gap on RJ, that was the time to do that, because I think he would have overcome whatever the gap was to Shimoda and way overcome whatever gap he'd lost fixing his boot by being able to go back and skim the whoops, like he said, because he said he even stopped skimming the whoops just because he was worried about his boot. Now, you say he's super buttery going over the tabletop in that other rhythm section. Dude, I see Levi's hurt. I really think he's hurt. It's bad for RJ, and I think he's riding. I think you can tell. I think he goes over that tabletop because he has hurt ribs, and he doesn't want that off anytime that he doesn't have to. Okay. Another thing I noticed was on the last lap of the main, Levi went outside in the whoops and he tripled in, and then he wheel tapped and then doubled. It was so much faster. You know that he knew he could do that at will. That's the hardest thing that you're going to get on your obliques or on your ribs if they are hurt. I really don't think the dude's 100. I heard him at press day. He said to the lady on press day, "Oh, well, I was able to ride with him in Nashville," or wherever he got hurt. He said, like, I was able to ride with him in Nashville, so I'll be able to ride with him this weekend. Ride with what, bud? If you don't have broken ribs, then what are you saying? You're going to ride with ribs?
Well, so I think he had soft tissue damage. So have you ever separated a rib? It's not as bad as having fractured ribs, but when you take a breath, they kind of pop, and it's more annoying. It is painful, but it's annoying. And I'm sure it distracts him. And I'm sure when he's got to flex his core to lift, whether that's into whoops or off of an on-off like you're talking about, I'm sure it does hurt. You know,
He
there's
looked
probably
like
something
he
to that.
was hurting when they first put the camera on him on the podium before she even started talking. And I could understand, like, yeah, if even if you have minor rib damage, you're just getting done the race where you're just breathing hard, you're coming off the adrenaline. I could see you're maybe hurting anyway. Most of the guys are probably hurting in some sense, but it looked like he was hurting and it looked like he was trying to not act hurt. But I want to know, Ping, what did
Yeah.
you think about when Will comes on there and gives this little feature about Levi and RJ being besties prior to this championship? I know you hate that. I hate that. And what I'm trying to say is like, besties, dude. She told us that they're two friends who decided mutually, but without discussing it, to not talk to one another, to not talk to one another while in the midst of the title fight. Then she mentions that he moved to the same town as RJ in Florida and they were kicking it with one another prior to the championship. What? If you're able to just cut someone out of your friends list who you're going to see every weekend and you're going to live in the same town as, that wasn't a solid friendship. Are you sure you're friends? Maybe that was your friend and this championship ruined that friendship. But let's be clear. Just like if your girl tells you that you're taking a break, you're done. It's like this, RJ. You and Bruce, you're friends. Me and you, we're friends. You and Levi, we friends.
I thought that was odd, and especially
Yeah.
when she said, without talking, they've mutually agreed to just not talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Telekinesis. They're
yeah,
more than
yeah.
friends,
She
boy.
didn't talk. What were you know? Anyway, that was weird.
Well,
Hey.
you know, who else is in Friends? What is up with Thrasher?
That's where I was getting to. I
What,
wanted to,
Thrasher?
yeah, I don't want to forget about that. That was pretty
Did he
came
make
in
it out
hot
of the
on
tunnel?
RJ.
He made it out of the tunnel? I think like Nate Dogg was probably in there saying something to him. That was a rough hit, dude.
That
Yeah,
was a hit.
I can't
that
help
was
but
hard.
think that that sure looks like, dude, you're just friends with Levi. You guys are friends from being besties on the concentration camp fucking goat farm you guys are on. And you're like, now you guys, you're trying to go for your dude. Or maybe they're paying him. Maybe Mitch was paying him. I don't think that's Mitch's deal. But just a heads up, if Mitch goes and signs Thrasher for 25, let's revisit this topic. And Mitch might have been paying that.
Oh shit.
Either way, that check better not bounce because he earned it.
Yeah.
What a jerk, bro.
But
Yeah.
does he have any beef with RJ? Do you know, Bruce?
No, I mean, nothing. RJ's kind of like keeps to himself though, you know? So he doesn't really let anyone really get to him like that, you know? So
Yeah, I know, like
it's
him and Smith are kind of frenemies or whatever, right?
Yeah,
but like,
yes. The whole Smith and RJ thing's just because like a lot of like jealousy in the amateur days, you know, and you know the fact that RJ got on this factory ride kind of took that spotlight from Jordan. So there's always like this just beef there. But RJ hasn't really talked to me anything about Thrasher. So
well, that was a hell of a hit. I'm glad that
Yeah.
RJ stayed
I
up. 'Cause
mean-
that can you imagine if he'd have blown him off the berm right there?
I mean,
Like, what
RJ's
would-
not. Yeah,
what
go
would you
ahead.
guys have done about the boot thing? Like, would you guys have strapped your boot or not?
So
Yeah,
yeah, you said strap it.
but
It would just depend on how bad it is. Like to
Yeah,
me,
but I-
watching that thing move when he would jump and they did the camera close on it.
Yeah, it looked bad.
I heard him say on one of our social media clips, our guy Jeff Beaver. I want to give him a shout out because he just
Yeah.
rushes up with his camera and he's up in the mix. And he got Kitchen after the race. If you go to a Whiskey Throttle Media Instagram page, you'll hear Kitchen go, "Oh yeah, my whole foot was almost coming out of the boot." And I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, dude."
Well, dude, I heard him saying the thing. He said, oh, yeah, well, we definitely couldn't ride without a boot. It would tear our feet all up. And I'm thinking, like, dude, if it was crossing your mind that your foot was going to come out of the boot, you really made a bad decision right there, not strapping it. And if he were to go back and in no pressure, I bet you could latch that top buckle and strap the Velcro without losing but half a second down that straight before the finish line.
So I don't know the Fox boot mechanism. I think it's like two little pins that catch, but I know like the A-Star ones, you have to feed it through that little thing, and it in the
Well,
middle
do
of
you
a
guys-
race with one hand on your left side, it would be tough.
Hey, Fox has been doing a good job this season though with making things open.
Yeah, for real.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like the
Mac Sackadoo.
sorry, I missed that setup. You're right.
Hey, do
Yeah.
you guys know who Mr. No Boots is? The kid from 2023 Loretta's with on the PW class?
No.
No.
Okay, this kid, he's like the hot shot must be. He's at the last moto at Loretta's when they ran the PWs in the mud at the end of the week. Well, this kid, and I'm not even going to try to guess right here. I'm not sure how, but he is riding the moto with one boot. Okay. He only has one boot on. I guess he got stuck in the mud and like this is how he got himself out was take his foot out of the boot or whatever. Kid charges all the way to second place with one boot, goes around the leader.
Shut
Wow.
Wait, goes around the leader in the final turn and the dude's not having it. Takes them both down. They crash in a heap. I don't know if he won the title or
Oh,
not, but he's a
dang.
legend, dude. Mr. No
That's
Boots.
gnarly.
Think about this. He's epic.
Hey,
Oh, man.
hey, back to a solid answer for you, Jason. I would, if that were me, I would definitely pull over and at least strap the top one. So,
Yeah, you might. I mean,
now not
you-
necessarily pull over, but going down straight, just look down
Yeah.
really quick, you know, and
I can see it's like you're in the moment. Thinking back, he probably would do that. But like, I have a situation that I can recall that's I was in a mud race and you do like roll offs with a couple tear offs over it, right? Well, once I got through the tear offs, it was raining out and like I even had the fish line in there, but my roll offs were stuck. So I took my roll offs off. I got second place instead of first. Okay. I went and picked my goggles up off the track because I went to go recoup my goggles and I didn't pull all my tear offs off. So I was trying to pull the roll off and I just like panicked
Gotcha.
and didn't think at all. And I think that's Levi, hindsight's 2020, but yeah, bud, you should have strapped that boot. Probably would have won this race.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Clearly that boot affected his ability to ride. Like clearly. There's no one, at least if nothing else mentally, you're going, dude, my foot's wiggling around. It would be distracting. How much faster would he have been if the boot stays on? Okay. And I mean, I think he goes up and passes Joe, right?
well,
The
that
mo-
even
Go ahead, Bruce.
well that I was gonna mention too, like that last lap, I thought he was gonna get Joe on that last lap.
Well, that was courtesy of our 4-time lapper, the most experienced lapper on the track, Kawasaki guy. For real, that was what that
Who
was. He
was it?
blocked
Do you remember who it
inside.
was?
I'm not going to be that mean, buds, but you can figure it out by looking at the results. Man, I'm not saying no more.
Who only finished 13 laps out there? 12 laps.
Oh, yeah, he did, man. It was his
All
first
right.
time. He was like deer in the headlights out there quite a few times.
Okay, I want to talk about Joe real quick. He's had a shitty season. Let's just be real honest about it. And they've done quite a bit of work, sounds like, trying to get him either comfortable with the bike or just back in the right headspace to win. And I think he rode awesome. I think he's better outdoors than Supercross kind of in general, but he looked really good last night. I think that's, I would say, best we've seen him in Supercross probably ever. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I
Whole
agree.
shot, he ran a smooth race the whole race.
No pressure, though.
No
Yeah.
pressure. And then I want to ask about the post-race interview. Did you guys catch the press conference? Bruce, you and I were talking about it.
I heard it was good. What happened?
Hey, I'm telling you right now, though, Kitchen and RJ make it. They're the ones that crack me up the most about the whole situation.
So I'll see if I can get it, and we'll drop it in right here in the video. Basically, some gal of Asian descent asked a question. She has a very heavy accent, and Joe's like, you can just tell him kind of he's tuning in, trying to listen, and you can tell, even listening to it, I'm like, I got maybe the first couple sentences, and I'm like, I don't know what she's saying, and he just goes, oh, very hard to understand. he just starts giving like a generic answer, like, yeah, it was a good night, HRC.
And you can tell Joe's trying hard too, like to just like keep a straight face,
keep it together.
Professional. Yeah, like he's trying so hard to keep it together. And RJ, he's just like he just loses it, puts his head down. Same with Kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
After that race, I saw RJ. He didn't really want to touch gloves with Kitchen, but he didn't mind shaking hands with Joe. I didn't know
I
if there was
saw
something.
I saw that. It was like awkward when he rolled up, when Kitchen rolled up.
See,
you
he's
know?
just doing it for the fans. That's why he meant to get. He did that on purpose last night.
Well, I
No, it was
think
because they agreed to not talk, so he didn't want to like break their little unspoken code.
There you go. There you go.
they didn't want to get in like a post-race argument and break their deal of not talking.
They said no talking. So
RJ said in there that he didn't have enough tonight. Like he said this again or before when he got beat earlier in the year after the break. He's like, "Oh, I just didn't have enough."
Well, Ping, I'm surprised they didn't say anything about altitude.
I know.
Or no, elevation. I mean, sorry.
Hey,
elevation.
I will say this. Okay, so
altitude, elevation.
They obviously watched the show because they left elevation alone. We only heard it maybe a couple times, right?
Yeah.
How many times, and is Ricky getting paid to say SMX track crew? Did you guys catch it?
Oh,
like 6 times. I'm all, can't you just say track crew? Are they paying you? Is SMX track crew a sponsor? What is going on, dude? It was like a squeak in your car that you hear, and then once you hear it, you can't stop hearing it. That's all I heard all night. He must have said it 6 times. I said to my buddy, I'm all, if he says it again, I'm throwing something at the TV. And I'm walking to my kitchen and he says it again. I'm all,
hey, bringing up SMX, I want to see if you guys noticed, Jason, in that first heat, the chalk on the start straight.
That's what I was saying. This is like the smartest track layout that we had. You know, most thought out, seeing how we use the same layout twice now throughout the same course of this year, except for where we put the SMX thing. We groomed it out right after the heat races. What were we thinking?
Hey, Ping, did you see that? And every time they came around, it was like,
I saw the dust. I didn't see what
people
happened
are at some Vegas party getting out of control with some stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, that was unreal.
Big pile of Colombian war bags.
Hey, but did you guys notice that about the track out here though? Like this was the damn near identical track to Indy. Did you notice
you were
that?
saying that. I didn't really. I'd have to go back and look at Indy, but I mean, hey, they got to come up with 17, layouts. They're probably like,
well, I'm not really against recycling it once throughout the season because we saw it in Indy, and we saw it in Denver. But the only difference was those additional switchbacks, which they said that added 300 feet to the track and made this the longest track that they've had in a traditional football stadium. So that's kind of cool. They're trying to make it longer. But the way they put the same exact track in 2 spots is actually kind of cool when they do it at these 2 venues because Indy retains the moisture and it deteriorates and it's notoriously rutted, and Denver's dry and blue grooved and no deterioration. So I think it's actually it's great choices if you're going to run the same track design twice. And I was going to say, yeah, you can see it's a well thought out design, except for where we painted the SMX logo. Hey, but the way that the whoops were so great, it makes me think like, why can't we bring this dirt to every race and build the whoops out of some solid dirt so they stay? You know, we bring sand everywhere. Like, with the little better track layout coming into it, these whoops would have been big separators.
Okay, so before we start our Rock and Turf 450 main event preview and really look at that class, you mentioned the whoops. And I want to talk about it because I am so against this 9 whoop thing. Dozer whoops only. I hate it. I think it is so gay. And I'll tell you why. They're trying to make them jumpers. I don't know if they're trying to help Coop. I don't know what the motive is. Right? Maybe they're trying to help. I don't know. I don't really get it. But in this set right here, it was faster to skim, right? You see even Hunter, he'd go wide and just but when you put them, and they've done this a couple times, you put the turn right after the last whoop. Going skimming through them fast is slower because you blow way out into the turn. So they're making it a disadvantage to skim. Now, I'm okay doing that here and there. I like technical stuff as much as anybody. But, dude, skimming whoops is part of this sport. And it's a super technical skill that's very difficult to learn. And you're either good at it or you're not. And it shows. And it's a good way for a guy who's got a bad start or trying to make time on somebody to make some time. And it drives me nuts that they're doing this. What are your thoughts?
This was a total example of that. Like, let's say RJ, he was the only guy who was really going for it through the whoops and committed to the skim line, right? The whoops were super hard to skim on the left-hand side because everyone was doubling. So every other whoop was practically gone. So you're trying to flirt with a tiny little line in between that and the hay bales which is sketchy. When you miss it and you go to the right, yeah, you miss the hay bales, but then you miss the whoop. You know, that's the dreaded thing, is missing a whoop in a whoop section. Well, right here, there's not a fucking whoop to hit. So you're definitely missing a whoop and sends you for a ride. Now, RJ in that race, well, and let's also mention, you can't get to the right of that main line, because if you do, you're not even going to have speed to skim the whoops. You're set up on the outside. It wasn't a good design, but I liked how the whoops stayed. They didn't break down that bad. I guess they did, because 100 guys every lap are doubling into the same spot. But if RJ would have went away from skimming, I think it would have really brought his race together, because the way that he was having that like rodeo moment each lap through the whoops, it was just messing his flow up. Like for me personally, if you could jump through the whoops, I loved it, because even if it was slower right there, then I was able to like connect and link the whole track together. You saw RJ, if he didn't get a good run through the whoops, boy, he was like trying to get the most out of it on the landings of the jumps. And this was a track that it didn't work like that. You know, like this track really paid patience. So RJ was actually like live by the sword, die by the sword in the whoops right there. And he should have got away from skimming it. He was the only guy who stuck with it. And yeah, exactly. It was designed to reward the jumpers, which I saw Cooper Webb. If he was feeling a little froggy, or he came out in the main event and he tripled the first lap of the whoops, past a couple dudes on the inside. And the next lap, he went outside and he quadded in. So I don't know what he was feeling if he kept going right there, but he got kind of tied up with Barcia that they didn't show on the broadcast. Kind of like put him at the toll booth there coming into the last corner one lap.
Bruce, what are your thoughts on these whoops here before we dive into the?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what you said, Ping. Like, it's really weird how these whoops, they've designed them this year, and like for this weekend, they've done this a few times where they make it to, it's like if you skim them, you have such a big disadvantage because you're just trying to make that quick right. There's not really like a rhythm after it, you know, to where like I missed the whoop sections back in the day that were super long, and you had a skim to get momentum around that outside to either triple out or hit some big rhythm, hit a triple. Like it's just, they're making them super awkward.
Yeah. Well, all right. Maybe they'll listen to somebody, because I don't think a lot of people are stoked on these.
They'll listen to J-Law. He's going to go to the next.
In practice, when you were able to go wide and there was no consequence to going wide, like you couldn't get past, it did reward the skimmers. You know, when you got little bit of like Mookie did that.
Yeah.
You know, and Mook was able to get a good lap time and they're able to skim it. But when it comes down to it in the race, dude, it's like just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
It wasn't a race line at all.
Wasn't happening. I've been saying for a while that Hunter Lawrence is having a really good, quietly good rookie season. Top 10 almost all the time. He won a heat, got a podium, and now he just got another podium, led some laps. You know, I didn't know I still don't know kind of what his peak is. I don't know if he can get to Jett's level and like legit heads up race him and beat him. But I'm starting to think it's possible. I'm starting to think like, hey, we got to consider this guy to be maybe Jett's biggest competition in the next 2 to 3 years, because his trajectory is like, it's pretty good. What are your thoughts? I mean, let's talk about that first, because he had a great race, and then I got a couple things I want to say about it.
Well, this track was epic for Jett. Okay, so Jett's amazing all the time, but when the track rewards like patience and precision, he's extraordinary. And that jump out of the first turn, it looks simple, but it's so easy to like overcook that and go over that tabletop just by a few inches if you're trying to push the pace. Him and Jett and Hunter both were just like spitting images each lap. So then they come out of turn 2. There's another jump on, jump off, which always rewards the patience for the dude who gets a good drive across the top, you know, across the entire tabletop. You turn, there was another jump on, jump off right there. Like how you said Levi Kitchen was using a different line. Well, these guys don't struggle getting off the offs because they're so patient that they come off out of the corner and they get on to the full thing. You don't see them clip the next jump, you know, like they get off it better than anybody really. You had that next section before the rhythm. They'd go inside, roll, jump on, jump off. You saw Hunter in the heat race skim it. You saw RJ skim it. You saw a ton of guys miss it. Jett didn't miss that section one time, you know? So mean, you add that to the fact that he makes the turns wider than anybody and he slows down less than anybody and he does it lap after lap, means that this track was right in the Lawrence brothers wheelhouse. And I say both brothers because everything Jett does well, Hunter also does well, except you could hear Jett singing, anything you can do, I can do better.
Well, so
Um,
I don't know if you caught this. I was wondering what was going to happen. He's sitting there behind Hunter. They got a nice little cushion on Anderson, and then behind Anderson was an even bigger cushion. And I thought, all right, Jett's going to pass him. Anderson will probably get Hunter. Hunter gets third. Like that's probably how it'll go. And then I watched Jett just sit there, and in my head, I'm thinking he's trying to figure out if he should pass him or not.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to figure out what to do. I think he could have passed his brother at will. Really.
Well, dude, we were talking about it with RV in our little group chat, actually. And RV was even saying, like, yeah, I don't even think he'll beat him, if he doesn't have pressure. I was saying the opposite. I was thinking Hombre was going to bring the pressure, so like then even once he passed him and it got to the end of the race, I think you might have tuned our chat out, Ping, because you hadn't watched the race
Yeah,
yet.
I wasn't like responding because I didn't want to.
Towards the end, I'm saying like to RV, I'm like, dude, is he gonna let him by? It actually looked like maybe he was gonna let him by at the end of the race. But then I thought, if you're gonna go for 72, you
that's
need
what I
every win
was.
you can get.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
But dude, then Jett says in the post race that if it was any other situation other than the championship, he would have let Hunter win it. So now that's a guy who's saying he intends on giving wins away as well as accumulating 72. So that's saying he's going to win 8 races for the next 9 seasons, plus the ones he chooses to let someone else win. I'm sorry, but that'll make me be 45 years old when his reign is complete, and I'm not here to see it. With an outstanding ride in Salt Lake City, Jett becomes the second winningest rider, rookie of all time. And then with an outstanding career over the next decade, Jett becomes the second winningest rider of all time behind MC. But let's be real. I thought it was so funny how Jett takes a double take over his shoulder on the last lap before the finish line, as if he just realized Hunter was in second. Is he that laser focused?
Okay, so I want to bring something up. If you go, not that I'm sitting here trying to pimp our Instagram page, but again, Jeff was down there in the mix when all the guys came in, and Jett is talking to his dad, and he says, it's very quiet. You got to turn your phone up and listen. But he says to Dazzy, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have it exactly right, because I didn't know, like on the last lap, I was thinking I was going to let him go, but I just didn't know what to do. And his dad's like, nope, you did the right thing. You did exactly the right thing.
That's what I said to RV.
And then he gives him a big hug. And
that'd be big brain move number 2. Like, I don't know. Last time he let somebody by, that shit didn't pan out that well for him.
Yeah. I think it's cool that, I mean, no one in this sport's ever been in this position where 2 brothers are 1 and 2 in the premier class. And it's just never happened. And so like, you don't know the dynamics, emotional, psychological dynamics that he's going, okay, I got plenty of wins. I'm still, even if Hunter wins, I'm still putting points on Coop, like good points. He's up 20 right now. I don't even think he's thinking about that. He's thinking, do I let Hunter get a win right now? Like, maybe Hunter doesn't ever get one.
It might be a mistake to let Hunter get a win, honestly. I don't know. Like, hey, like, I know that's the opposite with big brother, little brother, but like the first time my little brother ever beat me up, he beat me up every time we fought after that. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't really let him get a win.
My thing was this. I almost feel like Hunter would be pissed. Like, really, dude, I want my first win to be like, I earned it, not I was in a solid second. My brother let me by. That would have been screwed.
On the other hand, Jett should be praising him in the sense of like, thanks for not pushing the limit when I was riding in front of you and not treating me like any other racer and wanting to get your first win. He resigned to second place as soon as Jett put any pressure on him, dude. Yeah. As soon as Jett got even there and he felt him, he laid up, and then he didn't even really pressure him.
Do you think he felt him inside of him in that corner?
Yeah, is that incest or what?
That's for you, SX cum or whatever that is.
Miyamoto.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Hey,
saw Jett doing starts in the pits though.
I
I
know
haven't
that
seen
was
that since like
yeah.
Gangan on Super Minis, dude. What's
he
up?
does it
That's
every
smart.
week. He does that every single week.
Ah,
They have a great they
why doesn't
tape on the
everyone
ground.
do that then? You know, like, dude, you got to start mock or start imitating this
Right.
guy. Like, what's up with the starting on the grate? Like, he pulls all the way up and he starts all the way forward to the gate. And okay, Vince Freese is a total opposite. He starts all the way at the back. Well, if you're Jett, dude, like I was trying to point this out to Coop, it's like he starts next to you and he starts this far in front of you. And then when you guys are 10 feet out of the gate, he's still only this far in front of you, but he turns in front of you and cuts you off. Like, why doesn't everyone do some of
So
these things he does?
so
Like
I think
we
the
got
theory of starting a little bit further back is that you have more momentum when you get to the plastic piece and the gate where your wheel's actually spinning and bouncing.
yeah.
So you go across that faster and get to the dirt where you can actually start driving again.
Well, even if
That has
it's
always
not
been
the
a
gate,
theory.
even if it's not the gate, it does make sense in you'll probably get to the first turn faster if you start with a little more mesh and you
Yeah.
get that good drive. But the problem is people are going to fill that void, bud, and the collisions are on in real life. You know, it's not a video game. You're not going through them. You're
There's
shutting them down.
there's something else too, because you mentioned it and I've seen it but never really put it together. Those two boys they're leaned as far forward as they can get. Their head is over in front of the number plate,
Yeah,
right?
and their front tires are like touching the gate.
Yeah, they're right there.
Yeah.
So most other guys will be kind of forward. And then when the gate drops, you kind of like drop your body forward to try to counteract the force of it, so it doesn't throw you back. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to go try this out and rethink it. It's always interesting to me to see those guys get good starts. I mean, they greased
Well,
every
yeah.
whole shot all night.
I think that it could be like a real like gamesmanship, like race tactic type thing. Like you could like be in the gate, say you and I are next to each other and we're in a battle, and you're expecting I'm going to cut you off. Well, if you see me like edge all the way up, you assume that that's what I'm going to do. I would say if you're smart, you're going to edge all the way up.
Yeah.
Then maybe I could pull it back, like, I don't know. I think there's something to be done with this right here. I do. Plus, you know what I like too about the starting gate? And because I think this is where the only place shit talking can have an impact on the race is on the starting gate. And I liked how RJ got second in the heat race behind Thrasher. It didn't, showing him respect really didn't pay RJ any dividends in the main event, as we saw. He should have probably punted him, but it was actually better that he finished second in that and got gate choice behind Levi, because I believe there were so many good gates at this track with the dirt that you want to go to the gate behind your competition, because then I believe you can force your competition to choose the gate based on knowing how you're going to go. If that dude knows you're going to the inside of him, you can force him further down to the inside on the gate. You can tell him, like, pick your gate, bud, because I'm going fucking one right next to you. And then when he picks your gate, you can go back down by the box where it's good. This works like that. Or you can just yell at him real loud. I don't know.
Take some notes, guys. J-Law knows what's up on that stuff.
J-Law's dropping tips.
Yeah.
Did you ever like bark at somebody?
Yeah.
Bark like a dog?
I've yelled some bad things.
I love it. All right.
The hitting the box.
Yeah.
The
Smacking the
doghouse.
box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything in this main, like I said, amazing ride for Hunter. I was stoked for him.
I'm
He
still
even closed up on Jett at a point. Like he was closing in on. Now I don't know. I don't think Jett was pushing the limits either. But
yeah, but I almost think like they're so comfortable riding with each other. Obviously, they're brothers. They train, ride. They've done it their whole lives with each other. It's almost like Jett's such a good rider that he's almost has this plan where, okay, I'm gonna push my brother to keep that cushion, for points. So I'm gonna push him. I feel like Hunter's more comfortable having his brother push him versus if it was like a competitor of his, even though
he knows he's not going to hit him.
Exactly. So it's going to kind of push him. And then I feel like it's almost once Jett got around him, he kind of like slowed down just a little bit to like, come on, bro, stay on me. I'm going to pull you with me, just to kind of keep that. I don't know,
Like
maybe.
using a lapper as a pick. I got 2 points on this. One is that, yeah, Jett was doing that, but honestly, Hombre was dictating this race. If Hombre picked up the pace, Jett picked up the pace, and he closed up on Hunter. If Hombre would have pulled off or crashed on lap 5, I think Jett would have just rode behind Hunter and not even pushed it. But I had something else though, but I don't know. I lost it. Go ahead, next one.
It went away. What about Jason Anderson? I got to eat some of my words because I thought his history in elevation has not been good. I thought, he's going to struggle.
Oh, I'm sorry. My last point was he's not going to hit him, bud. Did we not watch Paris Supercross? He comes in there and he knocks him the hell down.
Oh, that's right.
Hunter. Yeah.
That's right.
And then one more thing on these Lawrence brothers is that the not animosity, but the like battle between the brothers is probably way gnarlier than we think. Like, yeah, you're the older brother and you get a lot of respect for how you paved the way for your brother. But just a few years ago when they were coming here with Geico and bursting on the scene, and it became evident that Jett was actually the superior talent at the time, at least, Hunter was like emotionally distraught. And there may have been more to it, but he was making videos about retiring. Don't you guys recall? He was going to retire, and then he ended up like coming back, and he just said he'd been knocked down too many times, and
Well, I think he was having a lot of health issues that stemmed to either immune system or diet. I don't know, but he had injuries.
He's like a top 5 guy at the time who's like just comparing himself to his brother in a sense that's not working good for him. I think he's dying to be better than his brother, but I don't know how it'll work out. I would hate to be losing.
I don't see how you can get beat by your brother week in, week out, year after year after year, and not have it grate on you a little bit. Having said that, those two seem super close. I think it's rad that they support each other, and the fact that Jett was going to hand his brother a win, and he's probably conflicted about it, I think that says a lot. So
yeah,
I'll just say that. But were you guys surprised with Anderson? I mean, not that he's not capable. I think he caught us all surprised on this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I've never doubted him though. I don't know what happened kind of halfway through the season, but I mean, look at how the season started. I mean, he was up there.
Yeah.
So hey, a couple points so I don't want to forget about too though. I feel like Sexton rode really good. He came from last. He obviously fell in that.
Ernest goes down in the first turn and makes a valiant ride back. Do you guys know about the Ernest movies?
Oh yeah, Ernest goes to camp, dude.
Yeah, Ernest goes to camp. I think Chase has a little resemblance to Ernest sometimes.
Ernest P. Worrell, dude. I love it. That's great.
He's awesome. I also noticed a little resemblance since I'm here picking on people. Levi Kitchen, it's good to see him come back in this fight. But dude, when I listened to the interviews, I listened to a lot of interviews, right? And I saw one of Levi where he said that his parents prioritized being a good human over being a pro racer when they raised him. And I'm wondering, is there any way we can make a connection with Kermit the Frog and Levi? Because I catch a Kermit the Frog vibe occasionally in his interviews. And then I think maybe they pushed Kermit on him a little bit when he was a kid. And with one of Kermit's most popular sayings being, "It's nice to be important, but important to be nice," I really think I'm onto something. You should check out Kermit's hit song, "It's Not Easy Being Green," on YouTube or at his championship party.
Oh, gosh.
You'll know what I'm talking about.
All right, well, let's get to the championship party first, and then maybe we'll play the Kermit the Frog song.
Hey, so is Coop out of it, though? Let's say. Is he out of it? Cooper
Look,
West?
it's 20 points, dude.
20 points. I mean, and I have a question here because obviously he's riding in some pain. Does he even race Salt Lake?
I don't know. I think he's up for, I know I'm going to get this wrong, an Emmy nomination for that. Is that an acting award right there? I think he might be at the Emmys for that. I'm not saying he's lying, but that was pretty theatrical for such a tough dude right there about the one arm over across the finish line.
Yeah. It's
I
but
don't want to judge. I mean, a
but
jacked
no,
up
he's
thumb hurts.
obviously hurting. He's obviously hurting.
yeah,
for real.
but it's one of those things too. Like with this sport, as you guys know, it's like so unpredictable. Like anything can happen. Something can happen during this
Well,
week with testing, practicing. I mean,
you can make something happen. It's a little far fetched, but like, dude, anything can happen. And Coop, I'm gonna say it. Coop is done with this championship. He's done, but he's not done because he's 20 points out. The
Right.
fact that he's mathematically eligible means that he's not out of it. The fact that he does not look capable of finishing second to secure enough points to win the title, given a Jett DNF, that's why he's out of the championship.
Yeah, I'd have to get second, wouldn't he? Yeah, I agree with you. Third would tie him.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Nope.
true. That's true. Jason, that's a really good point there. Yeah.
What about the race for third was like only 2 points going into the previous round with Chase and Eli.
Yeah.
And Chase kind of took that back, but we are going to Salt Lake City. And Salt Lake City is, I know I just love trying to go for Beast, but this is where Beast had his very first Supercross Beast mode ride. Remember that one in 17? He like passed everybody and done rest of first or something. So maybe he has something there. Maybe not. Don't bet on it, but hope for it.
Yeah, listen, I feel like you're driving the Webb Coupe, and I think the Webb or the Tomac Beast Mode is a unicycle.
Well, this is what I do, bro. I stick with the people that I like till the bitter fucking end.
Look, I want Eli to win one straight up, just come out and crush more than anybody, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's mental. Maybe he is still having some issues, but he's not there. He's not the guy right now.
Highlights of this race would be when Ernest goes around the outside on Voodoo Vince. You saw that pass when Chase went around the outside?
Dude, that was gangster.
That was
pass
cool.
of the race, and then Mookie, not to be outdone, comes in with the pass of the season, and that is a pass, dude. He was clearly in front of Cooper before he hit his face.
Oh, we
on
count
that
it?
dunk.
We're
Yeah,
counting
we
it?
count
Oh,
that
okay.
one. He got that one. That registered on the timing, dude. That was good.
Hey, I wanted to mention that. I didn't want to forget about Mookie for the night. Like in his heat race, getting third, and he was right there on those guys too. In the end, he rode.
He was right in the back of Chase in that first turn crash. He didn't crash, but he was like last. And dude, he obliterated the back half of the field and was sticking with the Barsha. And Barsha was flying hot too in the beginning. He put it in there on Hombre. You know, he made a pretty good pass on Hombre.
Yeah,
but I was wondering before the race, like, why are we pushing this stat that says Jett clinches the title with a win and Cooper getting 10th or worse? I was thinking, like, dude, that's such a stupid stat. You know, quit trying to push the narrative. That's not what happened. Wow, almost happened. I was like,
I know.
Yeah.
I think they're just setting the stage for points, but
yeah. The best thing that Coop had at this race was, well, actually, I like how he still has the balls he lined up next to Jett. You know, he had gate pick behind him. So, you know, he went up there. Maybe he tried to give it one last poke. Who knows? But the best thing that comes out of this is, did you see how he puts that little koozie around his water bottle for the starting line?
Yeah.
Game changer, bud. You don't want the wet fingers on there, and you can't rely on your mechanic to always wipe it off, you know? Promotional type thing. I like it. Flip it upside down. It's a whiskey logo.
Oh, wow. Dude, and we got a new Whiskey Throttle gang sign I saw, dude. What is it like?
Oh, yeah. I made this illiterate one, and then Ashley finally hooked us up with the real version of how you really say it. So we know what's up. Josh Hill wanted to offer his too. He does the Kenny Powers like this. That's what you got to do if you want to be him. If you're with Johnny Hopper, you just got to go like this. You know, you got to
love it.
All right. Anything else stand out from this race for you guys? Like Eli was a little bit of a bummer. I'm hoping he's not hurt. There was word that he tweaked his wrist and that little right hand tip over. I did notice when he cased that jump, did you notice his feet were off the pegs in the air and he brought them up and set them right on the arches?
Yeah.
That's not typically, you know, usually you'd be maybe not way up on the balls, but you'd be kind of on the balls of your feet to. So I wonder if he was like making an effort to go, okay, I don't want to jack up my Achilles here, which means he's still thinking about it and went up to the arches.
He ain't thinking about it. Carmichael's thinking about it, dude. Like he's like, oh, and that was the same section. Would you believe it? Would you believe it? That was the same lane that he had the Achilles. Oh, in the same area. Oh, I can't believe it. Like, dude, I wasn't that impressed. What I was impressed with was the dude's 6th through 9th in the 250 class. Because it was like Nicoletti, Thompson, Wageman, and Hawkins. Hawkins killed it with 2 good
Hawkins.
starts. That's a
Yeah,
dude
his
who kind of
his
lost the
heroes.
opportunity a little bit, so it's good for him. And then I thought that Noah Viney. Okay. You guys saw him? Noah Viney now, he pulls that whole shot and he crashes in the first turn of the LCQ. He did the big whole shot to face plant, but you guys might remember his whole shot to head shake to shoulder separate at the Paula National too. Do you remember that? When he came out, it was his first ever national. He got the whole shot. 2 turns later, he head shaked and he blew his shoulder out.
That's
We
right.
didn't see him again. Now he's back. This is his first Supercross. This kid can get a start from anywhere, dude. Rhino taught him the technique. He is a light kid, so he has the technique. He's not scared to go in the first turn first, dude. Like he must wear a size large banana hammock for real. It's a shame that he fell in that turn because if he could have got in that main event, he would have whole shot it from whatever gate. So look for that dude. That dude will probably he'll be pretty.
We got to get him to turn 3. Sounds like.
yeah. That is real. What about Josh Varese? Varese bumped out that one dude. He gave him like a bump and run in the heat race and a salute over the finish line. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was Bennick. Somebody named Bennick. I hadn't heard of him, but
under 500.
That was maybe one of the best races of the night. I was like screaming. That was good.
Josh Hill goes and wins $25,000 from Steve Mathis, which is so awesome because Steve Mathis used to make dumb jokes about me and Josh. He called us one time Jason Cheech, Lawrence, and Josh Chong Hill in some article that he wrote up when I flipped the rental car. And I just thought it was funny when Josh was standing on the podium. I wrote him a message and said, hey, bud, you should ask Mathis over there if he could sign that, write this check out to Josh Chong Hill. And you saw his face on there. It's just like, Matt, this is your first chance on the podium, bro. Staring at your feet. Look up.
Yeah, well, some people don't have a face for the camera. It's just what it is.
What about one more dude, and it's your guy, Ryder D. Like,
the whole shot in that.
Yes, see the rookies like Ryder D and Juju. They look great in the short races.
Yeah.
And if Ryder D keeps getting great starts, he will learn lessons at a rapid rate. He will learn lessons at a rapid rate. He will learn lessons at a rapid rate. But 3 times in the same fucking corner, the same way he got past. Yeah, I kind of want to defend him, dude. I see all these less educated dirt bike race analysis dudes on here already putting videos like slamming him, like acting like he doesn't, like he has amnesia or something. But look, the line that this dude is going to do, that he wants to do, is probably as fast as the line that's on the inside. You just can't use it when a guy's right on you. I think he knows that, but I bet you he's not comfortable with that roll, jump on, jump off because of the triple after it. I'm saying this because, like, personally, I feel like this would be a sketchy section. So when you go outside and you double, then table over single, you land in that pocket smooth each time, and you can easily get the triple. You have a ton of time to assess the situation when you're going table over single and decide if you want to even go for the triple or not. Like, you commit to the triple when you're talking about the triple out of that rhythm section. You got to commit to that when you jump on to the tabletop to go off, right? If you try to back out of that, and you'll have a situation like RJ on the first lap of the main or Hunter in the heat race, where they're forced to pound their way through the remaining 6 jumps just because they didn't get off that tabletop clean. And when you're not going to make it off the tabletop clean, and you're not going to make it over that jump with your rear tire, dude, you're on the throttle. So, like, that's what I mean by you're committed when you come off that tabletop to that triple. So this kid could have magical foresight, or he could have a good coach in his ear, but I don't really hate this move from Ryder. He eliminates the highest risk section on the track, but he gets past 3 times in the process. for a kid who's had some injuries that slows his progression, this was like a business decision, and it's not typical for a teenager. So good job riding within yourself, bud.
I thought something that's unfair for a kid like him is that he had such a big name kind of at the end of his amateur career, and then he did future and stuff. And by the time he gets to pro, you kind of almost feel like, okay, this kid, he's going to start winning. Like she should win right away. And I mean,
Yeah.
like even me, when you said he's a rookie, I'm like, God, he's a rookie. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's crazy.
Yeah, you
that's
don't
crazy.
yeah.
Doesn't seem like this is his rookie
No.
season.
It's because we consider these kids almost like rookies, like because they enter the pro scene now and they get the support from these teams like Mitch. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I'm like hard to believe he's a rookie. I thought he was riding for Mitch for 3 seasons now. You know, like, what do you mean?
Well, that's good to point out and keep bringing up so that you need to look at him through a rookie lens and go, okay, how's he doing? Maybe the results, like, maybe you'd expect a podium or something out of him or a fighting for one, and he's not quite been there, but look at him from a typical rookie lens and you go, what, he's having these flashes, he's showing speed, he's showing that he's capable, he's learning lessons, hopefully.
And he's doing it at his own pace, it seems like, which is rare, which is good too. You know, like I don't know.
I think he's got
out in his first race. He jumped a quad, nobody else jumped, blew his shoulder out, still won the race. You know, different ends of the spectrum, but they're similar paths.
Yeah.
You know,
that'll be fun to see where he goes. Anything else you guys want to touch on from the weekend?
nah.
I think we're good. I think
Nah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we got one last race coming up here, and the 250 class is going to be a barn burner. We not only were they going in tied for wins, tied for points, right? Tied for wins or no?
Yeah, I think it's 3
Yeah,
and
they
3.
are tied for wins. So this
3
is a
and
quick
3.
question. Why does it show RJ? I mean, it shows Levi ahead of RJ on the standings. Now I take
Because-
that, even though they're tied, I take that to be the tiebreaker status. So is
Well,
that what that's saying, that he would
yeah,
win the tiebreaker if it was now? Because I don't see either of these guys winning the next race. So it's not going to be, you look at it like, oh, they have the same amount of wins. That's going to be irrelevant. We need to know who has the most second places. And I take that to be by what they show us on the board. That must mean that that's how it shakes down. Because if RJ came in as the points leader, why would he be shown in second? I think that's what it is. I think he has the tiebreaker right now. Levi, that is.
Well, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll dig around this week to see what we can find. But either way, that's going to be a barn burner. You got tied points with Tomac and Sexton for third in the 450 class. They're tied with wins as well. Man, going to be a good race for there. I think Jett's probably going to walk away with this 450 class, but still lots of good racing coming. So
yeah, it's going to be good.
All right, well, then let's wrap this up here. I want to thank Rock and Turf, Maxis, and Speedstrap. Great companies. Stoked to have them on board. Jason, thanks for jumping in, man. We loved having you. The fans have spoken. And
everyone, it's insane how many people have blown me up for you being on here.
I appreciate it. You guys
people love you, dude. Yeah.
Thank you.
These have been a lot of fun. So you guys have a good one. And let's catch up and look ahead to this last round. I'm sure you'll bring some insight and a couple of little witty zingers, maybe a couple other comparisons, to other.
Make some friends, hurt some feelings.
Yeah. Look, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you for Sight Lap later on this week. So long.